Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be picking out our fall TBR. I just made this little prompt jar today, so it's full of all fresh new ideas. I would be doing a monthly TBR like I see a lot of people do, but realistically I just don't read enough books in a month for that to make sense. So we're going to be doing a fall TBR. I think 6 is a good number that I'm going to read throughout the fall, hopefully, so we're going to use these prompts to do that. But before we hop into that, I want to show you guys one thing. So I also have this TBR jar full of all of my physical TBR in mini book form, so that's another fun way I could pick out some books in the future. I did make this today, so I'm going to use this one this time, but let me know if you guys want to see a video where I use my mini book TBR to decide. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. So I wish I could tell you guys that these books right here are my whole physical TBR, but they're not. I've actually got one whole side of my built-ins over there with more books I haven't read on them. So that's exactly why we're doing this video, because I need to get on that physical TBR grind. So all that being said, we're gonna get started with our first prompt. So yeah. Alright, so we're gonna give it a good little shake before we get started. So their prompts in here could be about the cover, the author, the page length, literally so many things. So we're just gonna see what happens. And then at the very end, if there's one I just really don't want to read, I'll switch it out. I'll give myself one little like freebie. Unless I pull the prompt that says free pick, I think that kind of counts as that. So let's see what we get. We're gonna reach in here, take this green one right here. Let's see what it says. Okay, it says written by an indie author. So that's a hard one. And honestly, I'm gonna have to look up stuff for a lot of these, so let me grab my phone really quick. Okay, I'm looking at a few on here. I'm gonna grab a couple that I think might be indie authors, and then we can like look on my phone and see if they are for sure. Okay, so one that's immediately catching my attention is this one right here. That would be my dog. This one's catching my attention right here. Waves the Color of Onyx by Leah Joanne. I believe she's indie published. Let me look. This one is an indie published author, so I'm gonna get this as an option. We'll grab a few more and then pick from those. Okay, I just looked through like all of these. I haven't looked through that shelf, but these are my more immediate TBR, so I'm gonna stick with these for right this second. And the only other title I found was The Swiftie Story by Ellie Ann. I do really want to get to this one too. It's kind of a biography about Taylor Swift in some ways, but it's more about like her following, her followers, and just how big her fandom, the Swifties are. And I love Taylor Swift. I have since I was little. I literally have a wall collage of Taylor Swift songs and paraphernalia. So I think this could be a good option too. So I have to decide between these two. Waves the Color of Onyx is about, it's kind of like self-discovery, troubled past, like reoccurring. It says 23-year-old Valletta Sky has scars that sleeping pills can only mask for so long. So I don't know if that seems like me. It seems a little deep, a little sad, a little intense, but I do want to give it a try. It could be really good. I don't know. And I think for August, I'm gonna have to go with this one. I did join a little like publishing boost or whatever you call it for this book, and I have not been very active in it, but I need to be. So this would be a great one to get read during the fall. And I do really want to read the Swiftie Story still, but I think I'm gonna go with book 1, Waves the Color of Onyx. Okay, now that we've picked our first book, it's time for our second TBR prompt. So we're gonna give it a good mix, maybe hopefully get a different color this time just to spice it up. There's no meaning to the colors, but you know. All right, this pink one, let's see what it says. It says animal on the cover. I don't know if that'll focus. So I should have quite a few of those. So let me check it out. I'll grab a few and then I'll get back with you guys. Maybe one of the Belladonna books. I don't know if these have animals. Shadow and Bone. Okay, I've got a couple good options here, so let's go through them. So first we have Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So this is a book I've really been wanting to get to. The New York Times book review says this is what fantasy is for, and other things say like utterly extremely bewitching. That sounds really good. It sounds very fall, very like vibes. We have Coyote Lost and Found. This is the second book to a book I read when I was in middle school that actually I really loved. It's like one of my core reading moments, and it's kind of like a sequel to that. So this is about a girl. In the first book she goes on a road trip with her dad, and I think this one she's alone or with someone else, and she basically has all these different expectations for the road trip. And the last line of the little synopsis on the back says, but maybe a story like a person can be more than one thing. So that sounds super good. I think it could be super like self-discovery, kind of like coming of age, which I really appreciate in a book, and I think it would be an easy read. So that could be a really good option. Next, we have Mimi Lee Gets a Clue This one's by Jennifer J. Chow. Now this is a kind of odd book. I bought this when I was in New York with my mom. This is about a girl who lives in LA and she owns a pet grooming shop and she has a talking cat named Marshmallow, and I know that sounds so funny. So it's almost got a mystery aspect to it, even despite the pink cover and the talking cat named Marshmallow. I think it sounds so funny. So we're gonna have to decide between these three, and I think it's gonna be a close little situation here between these guys. But I'm not even gonna lie to you, I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards Shadow and Bone. I don't know. The vibe feels like very fallish. I think I'm gonna go with Shadow and Bone. It's kind of ambitious, especially since I have a feeling a lot of books are going to be fantasy, but I feel like that's just like this time of year is what you're reading. So I think I'm going to go with Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I have been wanting to get this one, and I actually have the rest of the series right here. So I think this is going to be our Animal on the Cover book. And that means it's time for our third prompt. So this will be our halfway point. Shake it up. Blue one. Alright, this is the lucky winner. Okay, this is a good one. So it says matches your outfit. That's so fun. I'll show you guys what I'm wearing because you can only see my white shirt. Alright, I've got this headband on. This is my sister's. I stole it from her. Thank you, Baylor. And then I've got a white shirt and some pink shorts on. So we need like pink and white. And already I'm eyeing this book. It really matches my shorts and my shirt, so that could be a really good option. Let me grab a few more though that are like similar. Okay, I've grabbed 3 options for us to look at. Now, I will say this one matches the best, but I am going to pick a book that I'm really going to want to read this fall. I've already explained to you what this one's about, so I won't explain it again. Then we have A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This book's about a girl who gets, like, I think trapped. I don't know if she gets trapped, but I know she goes into the town where her favorite book is set and she meets someone there, and like her fairy tale or her happily ever after gets intertwined with like the happily ever after of the town and her fate and stuff. So it sounds really interesting. I love Ashley Poston books, but I don't know why I've been so hesitant to pick this one up. So it could also be a great option. It's not overly fallish, but that's okay. And then the last option I had was Cinder. It matches the color of my shorts really well. Cinder, I bought this book when I was in Victoria, Canada. Really want to read it. I read the other book I bought already. I think this is a Cinderella retelling, but more like technology. For how popular this book is, I do not know a lot about it, but I could not resist this cover. I love it so much, and then all the other ones are just so cool too. So this could be a great option as well. Even though Mimi Lee Gets a Clue looks so cute, I feel like I really want to pick up this book. I've been hesitating to read it so much and putting it off, and I really do think it's going to be good, and I feel like it might have like the cozy vibes that you're looking for in the fall, even though the cover's not very like fallish, but it matches my headband super well, and so it fits the prompt well, and I do need to get to it, and I know it's going to be a good book. I know I'm going to love it, I hope, but I just need to get to it. So I think it's a good one to put on my fall TBR in hopes that I will read it. So with that being said, I think we're gonna make this one our matches your outfit book. So time to move on to the next prompt. All right, so let's open up the prompt jar. Let's get this one in the very bottom. This prompt says 5-star prediction. That's such a fun prompt. There's so many on here that I think are gonna be 5 stars. Okay, I've grabbed 3 more options for this prompt. These are all books I really want to read because I know they're going to be good, so this is going to be the hardest one, but let me tell you a little bit about each one. So this is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. It's the second, well, it's set in the same world as The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I read that book last fall and I absolutely loved it. It was 5 stars, and I just got this one because it just came out. That could be an amazing option. I don't know honestly a whole lot about it. There's something, she works at an inn, or she owns an inn, and it says, enter Luke Larson, a handsome and icy magical historian who arrives on a dark autumn evening and just might know how to unlock the spell's secret. So there's some sort of spell going on. I don't really know a whole lot, but I know it's going to be amazing and has the perfect autumn feel. The next book we have is the Hawthorne Legacy, second book in the Inheritance games, which that's an Infinity Star read, guys. I just finished that book and I loved it. But basically, she inherits a fortune from a virtual stranger, and that's where the book takes off, and there's four Hawthorne brothers, and it's such an adventure, such a fun time. So it was just amazing. So I think this one is hopefully going to be just as amazing. So yeah. And then the third one is another book by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, The Naturals. I've just heard so many good things about this. It sounds so entertaining and interesting. People are like, I could not put this book down. So that's another 5-star prediction. There's 3 really, really good options. I really want to pick up this book because I loved the first one. I don't know, it gives me the same vibe as Shadow and Bone, and we've already got that going there, and I feel like I'll pick this one up even if it's not on the TBR. But I really want this to be a part of my fall TBR because I loved that first book, and this one's about witches, and it could not be more fitting for fall time. So I think I'm gonna have to go with A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, hopefully I'm saying that right, for our 5-star prediction, and as book 4. So let's move on to the next prompt. Y'all, our fall TBR is looking really good so far. Okay, prompt 5. Let's just see what we get. We're gonna close our eyes. Okay, this one. It's a green prompt. That was the first one we picked, so we're just doing a little circle. Okay, this one says free choice. That's so exciting. That does mean I won't be switching any of the books that I've picked, but that's okay because I'm loving this so far. I'm gonna grab like my top 3 can't wait to read books. You might see some you've already seen, but that's okay. I'm gonna grab them and we'll talk about it. I think this one I'm gonna pick a few like kind of seasonal books just in case I don't get that on the last prompt because I do want them to be a part of my fall TBR, and I have a couple in mind. So my main 2 like fallish or like autumny books left are When in Rome and The X-Hex. So The X-Hex, I know there's some sort of like breakup curse involved, and it seems like her and the guy have to like figure out how to save the town from this curse, and all sorts of things are happening. Murderous wind-up toys, an angry ghost, and a talking cat with very interesting things to say. It sounds like such a fun time, very Halloween fall vibe. When in Rome by Sarah Adams is about a stranded pop star and a small town baker, a charming slice of romance. I think it's more a vibes book, I've heard, and it is part of an interconnected standalone series. Sarah Adams. I've heard really great things about this book. So this is gonna be a hard one. I do want to read The X-Hex around Halloween, but I think When in Rome is already catching my eye and I already want to go with this one. I think that's, besides a novel love story, this is our only like true romance on the TBR. So I think we're gonna go with When in Rome. I really want the vibe. Love the orange cover. It's so cute for fall. And I think X-Hex is very Halloween to me, and this could be read anytime in the fall, so I think it's a better one to put on the TBR. But I do expect to read the X-Hex on its own too. We're gonna go with When in Rome as our free choice book. I'm super excited to read this one. I got it knowing I was gonna want to read it in the fall, earlier this summer, so that's super exciting. And it is time to move on to our last prompt. Okay, for prompt number 6, we want to get a really good one because this is our last book going on the fall TBR. We're gonna give it a good little shake. Grab from right here. All right, last prompt. It's pink, my favorite color, so it's gonna be a good one. Oh my gosh, we just got another free choice. Okay, I think for the fall TBR, we've got to redo that. I don't think free choice can happen twice. So let's mix that guy back in there and pick something that's actually a prompt. Okay, take 2 with prompt 6. We're gonna try and get an actual prompt, not free choice again. Let's try this again. We got a blue one this time, so at least it's not the same one. It says with a person on the cover. That's gonna be a really easy prompt because a lot of books have people on the covers. So let's walk through this one together. We can look together. Person on the cover. I think Cinder is a really great option. I do really want to read this book this fall, so that could be really perfect. Honestly, might go with this one, but let's grab a few more just to make sure. We'll grab this one too, and let's check out these 3 options. All right, so Cinder, we've looked at her. We don't know a lot about it, but really want to read it. It is a newer TBR edition, which I kind of feel bad. Anyways, next book. A Study in Drowning, beautiful copy from Target actually. Okay, I just read the synopsis and it actually does look pretty good. I'm gonna read y'all the little like bottom blurb. It says, part historical fantasy, part rivals to lovers romance, and part gothic mystery, this feminist fairy tale has captivated readers with its haunting dreamlike atmosphere. On the back also it says, but if fairies and monsters were real, so were the women who defeated them. A good vibey story at a college. There's a guy involved, maybe some romance. I'm not really sure. Does sound very good, not gonna lie. I kind of forgot I owned her. She's very pretty. And then speaking of pretty books, I also have Belladonna. This is actually a special edition. Did not mean to buy it. Let me take this dust jacket off and show you guys the covers because they're so pretty. Here's the like outside. This is not the dust jacket. I just took it off. And the inside is this pretty. So we've got like a cool little silhouette. And then on the front, it said that 5 belladonna berries are all it takes to kill someone. So like we've got the very mystery vibe happening. So after reading the synopsis, one thing I found really interesting was that death itself is a character. My dog is in here. Hold on. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Death as a character, that's pretty weird, pretty special. Never seen that before. So these are some really good options. Give me a minute to mull it over. Maybe reread the synopsises real quick or watch a few Instagram reels about all 3 of them, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, now that we've looked at Instagram, I think y'all are gonna be shocked by this. I'm gonna rule Cinder out of this equation because it does look really good, but it's just not like the vibe of what I'm looking for, or like fall, or I just don't really want it on the fall TBR right now. I'm still probably gonna read it, probably soon actually. But I think we're gonna choose between these 2. So Belladonna looks really good because like the idea, I know I sound like so morbid, but the idea of death as a character is kind of fun for like fall, Halloween, whatever. And then we have A Study in Drowning. This one also looks really interesting. I don't think I've ever read Dark Academia, so it would be very new to me. But I am about to go back to school actually in 2 days. Oh my gosh, tonight is my last not school night. I actually like school, I just like don't wanna deal with all the homework. They both look so good. I think I'm gonna go with A Study in Drowning. I like the school vibe. I don't have anything really like that here. And going back to school, that could be just a fun atmospheric kind of read, and it also has a fall spookier vibe to it. So I think for our with a person on the cover book, we're gonna go with A Study in Drowning. So that makes book 6. So let's do a little recap of what we've picked out for each prompt and see what our final little fall TBR is gonna look like. Okay, book 1 that we picked was Waves the Color of Onyx by Leah Joanne. Book 2 that we picked for our fall TBR was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, book 3, we have a not so fallish book, but still a really good looking one. We have a novel love story. Okay, book 4 is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. Okay, somebody was barking his head off, and so he's gonna join us for the last little bit here. Book 5, When in Rome. This was my free choice book because it has all the fall vibes and I needed something short, sweet, cute, romance. And then book 6, we have A Study in Drowning. I actually forgot I owned this book, but I'm really excited for. Here is a look at all 6 books together. I'm super excited for all of these. I feel like we have a really good little TBR situated. I don't even know where I'm gonna put them to keep them separate from everything else. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun picking prompts out of my new prompt jar. I'm excited to continue using that and maybe do some videos with my TBR mini books jar as well. That being said, thank you guys again for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this more bookish video and content. Let me know if you want to see more things like it. I love making it, and I always am having ideas for bookish YouTube videos, but I never just make it to filming them. But I do enjoy it, and I want to make majority of my content be book related because I just love to read. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. Bye.